Let's do Menendez next. Because that's another one. That's another Geragos case I can't keep up. And not just Geragos, but my lawyer and friend, Bryan Freedman, is now involved in trying to get your two clients out of jail on any number of ways. Like there's a few different ways now where you might be able to get them out, because what originally happened was the outgoing Gascon attorney said, you know what, I want to take another look at whether these guys should be held. Like maybe we need to take a fresh look at this case. And it was clearly a ploy to stay in office. Well, he got booted. And now the new DA is like, never mind, we don't want to do that. And you guys first said this new DA should recuse himself. He shouldn't be part of this case. And I think that's where all hell broke loose, Mark Geragos. What happened? Now do you want him? This guy, Hochman, do you want him gone or don't you? Because it seems like you then backed off of your motion to have him booted from the case.
So, and I said this on the record, Bryan, your lawyer, my friend, had discovered right before court last week, somebody had come up with, because we've both been kind of perplexed by the idea of why is this guy so personally invested in this case? And meaning Nathan Hochman. As it turns out, Bryan had discovered that he had engaged a crisis management firm that arguably had been doing a social media campaign against the brothers. And then I said, well, if that's true, and I said this on the record to the judge, I then did some Googling, and it turns out that Mr. Hochman, when he was in private practice, he and his father, who were very accomplished tax defense lawyers in Los Angeles, had represented Jose's ex-business partner in a tax dispute regarding a transaction that took place months after Jose was killed. And so this whole kind of Jose rehab tour, that reputation rehab tour that Hochman has been on, all of a sudden comes into focus. Now you say, well, why didn't we pursue that? I want, and as we're taping this, Megyn, I'm about to cut you off and say goodbye to my friend Mark, because I've got to get to court. I don't want to delay the resentencing. I want to get in there. I want the judge to hear the evidence. I want the judge to engage with the victims, because, by the way, Bryan represents all of the victims, and every living victim is uniformly shoulder to shoulder.
Of Jose Menendez.
Yeah, of Jose. Jose's older sister, all of Jose's relatives, of Kitty Menendez, her older sister, all of their relatives. Everybody wants them out. Everybody says they're rehabilitated. Everybody who has, in that family, who understands what this statute is and what a resentencing is, all are uniformly in lockstep with us. They want them out.
But let me ask you, okay, so as I understand it, there are three. Yeah, well, let me just ask this first. There are three possibilities to get them out. One, that they're just resentenced. That's what George Gascon initiated last fall. The second is clemency from Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor Newsom. And the third is habeas corpus petition filed by you guys claiming that there's new evidence unearthed about the sexual abuse by Jose Menendez. And we've discussed some of that in the past, like the Menudo singer who said he molested me and so on. So which one is your best path here, Mark? Which one is the most active and most likely to get him out?
Today, as we're taping this, when I go to court.
Which is the resentencing thing started by Gascon.
Correct. And I mean,
go ahead, Eiglarsh.
So I wanted to ask Mark, and I say this with love and friendship, those who have challenges with them getting out primarily point to their mother. And, why did she need to be killed? And that just complicates the whole thing. And I'm wondering what your response is.
My response is that the focus of the statute is the 35 years since the crime. And one of the things that I've been so frustrated by is the current DA's conflation of that issue that Mark talks about with what the statute says. The statute says basically minimizes looking at the crime and maximizes what have you done since then. Now, to answer your question more fundamentally or on the merits, far be it for me to be the one who kind of seizes the moral high ground on Kitty. I have sat numerous times. I put her under oath in this courtroom in November, and I put her under oath more than a year ago in what's called a conditional exam with Joan, her older sister, who describes herself. Look, I was not only Kitty's older sister, I was 8 years older than her, and I kind of was a surrogate mother to her, to Kitty as well. I loved her more than you can love your own child, and I have forgiven them, and I want them out before I die. That is one of my fondest wishes in this case, is to get them out so they can get out, so they can hug Joan. So I could get into a detailed explanation as to all of the facts of the crime. We don't have enough time, but I will tell you, far be it from me to put myself in shoes other than where Kitty's own sister has said, please, please, Judge, let them out.
This July, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, or so they hope to be, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling it the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for U.S. dollars could decrease, bringing down the value of those dollars that are in your savings. While this transition, if it happens, will not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to 989898. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands, tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.